priorities they put in there. We are basically talking about 7 things that we are trying to target this year, this coming year, 24-25. Number 1 being the more investment in the money-making activities.
Okay.
We are going to put more money in the areas that are creating wealth, especially value addition and the wealth creation, as well as job creation. I'm talking about more investment in the UDB to support our manufacturers, capitalization of UDC, to continue with the industrial policy. I'm talking about going ahead with our PDM, parish development model. We are maintaining the 1.1 trillion shillings there. I'm talking about the money which we have been giving to women entrepreneurs, to youth, to ensure that they can do business, the myoga for our market people and those in the garages and so on, but also tourism development. Then the people in the new economy, the science-based economy, those who are innovators. I want to tell Ugandans actually, if you want to tap into government opportunities going forward, enter those areas of STI, science, technology, and innovation. Scientists are going to be supported quite well going forward. We're a bit constrained now. We cannot, I shouldn't promise that we shall be chunking out a lot of support, but going forward...
Because we may all go there and then you don't have the money.
Yes, as we get the fiscal space back, which we are working on now, we are going to be now shifting more resources in that area, because now we are working on growing the economy tenfold. There is a strategy which the minister is going to present alongside the budget for next year. How do we grow the economy tenfold in the next 15 years? By 2040, we want the GDP of Uganda to jump to $500 billion, 500 billion. I know in Uganda we don't believe what we haven't touched. I know in Uganda we have a lot of doubting Thomases. When you dream big, people are like, that's not possible.
Sometimes based on experience and what we've seen.
Now experiences change, cultures change. It's all about the belief. And I want to tell you that, and also strategy, but also the discipline, execution discipline. Those are the things we have a good strategy now in place. We presented it to Cabinet. Cabinet approved it. We are going now to present it to Parliament. And after that, we shall take it all over the country to the people. In local governments, all councils will present this strategy. In our civil society, our private sector, we would want everybody to get involved. It is a very simple strategy. It's about how do we get the ATMs to a next level. ATMs, I'm talking about agro-industry, tourism development, mineral development, including oil and gas, and then STI, the knowledge economy. And in there are certain things we are saying we are going to do differently. And that strategy is coming. We are going to be discussing it here on this table and so many others in the coming days and months and years.
You know, every time you talk about growing the economy, very ambitious, good strategies, but one of the biggest detriments that every Ugandan will complain about, and which you've also talked about, is the cost of public administration, which remains very huge for us, that you are paying politicians a lot of money at the expense of Ugandans who are contributing actually this money. And the last time when you said not only agencies need to be rationalized, but the entire government, is government even thinking about such?
Definitely. In this very budget, we've rationalized some of this money. We have moved the money from areas of consumption. We have almost, as you will see, we have cut a lot of, not cut, repurposed. We have repurposed a lot of these things by 50% and moved the money to areas where it's going to create value. We have actually done about 5 key policy changes in the coming budget. The number one is on reducing commercial borrowing for financing the budget. We are going to reduce borrowing for the budget and only maintain and slightly increase borrowing for particular projects. Because we have been borrowing money, put it in the budget commercially, and it doesn't make economic sense. So we have cut that, and it will help us to manage our debt cost, servicing cost. The number two, in this very budget, we've enhanced revenue collection, which we have just discussed. We will say a number of things.
Digitization.
Number three, we are saying we are going to prioritize now completion of ongoing projects instead of bringing in new projects on board. So there will be very few new projects. The emphasis is going to be put on completing what we start, because we have so many projects.
What are some of those
which are halfway?
What are some of those that are priority for now?
The priority projects, and these are the ones we are going now to give new money in the budget, SGR.
Okay.
The standard gauge railway is going to start this financial year, this coming financial year. Negotiation is at the tail end, as I told you last time. We are also prioritizing the oil and gas related projects. And in that, we are talking of the 2 remaining oil roads. We are going to complete them. We are talking about the refinery. We are going also to start the refinery. We are talking about completing the HICOP, the one for crude oil
pipeline. Yeah.
And they are top priorities. We are also prioritizing tourism roads. For tourism roads, we're going to make about 2 or 3 of them. In the north, Chidepo, Kitigumu-Kidepo Road, and then the circuit around Bwindi, impenetrable forest. And also, we are prioritizing Kampala roads. The roads within Kampala here, they are going to be a big priority. Those are the key new things you will see in the budget. The rest are finishing the business we've been doing.
When you talk about oil and gas, there is a conversation with regard to the Kabalega International Airport.
Oh, yes.
What course
We are going to complete it this year.
Aren't we behind schedule?
No. It is on schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, we just had a little challenge after during COVID, but we have since overcome it. So by the time we get oil, the first oil next year, 2025, Kabalega Airport will be. You need to get these cameras and you go and you see what
we
is
actually
happening.
have our teams on ground.
What is happening there? The airport is now almost, they have just very few technical things to fix, and we complete it at almost 90% completion. The other policy change we are making, we are going to fully implement the recommendations of the Auditor General on the payroll. Auditor General made strict recommendations. Those accounting officers who are creating ghosts, they are out. Those who are overpaying people, they are out. We are going to ensure that the wage bill now is exactly what is required. No shortfalls anymore on the wage. And this is a fundamental.
How does a Ugandan trust
reform.
you on that? Because I agree with the Auditor General, but this comes, or these recommendations came at a time when we had even had a census, for example, of pensioners. We had had a census, a head count literally, of civil servants, and we still get the shortfalls. Who is sleeping on the job?
No, as I've told you, they have just recommended. We are now implementing. They did a payroll audit on salary. They are now starting a payroll audit on pension and gratuity. They are going also to count all of pensioners. All of those wonderful Ugandans who have served this country in the past and have been suffering, not getting their pension. This is now the opportunity for us to rectify that also. For those who are working now, I want to assure them that we have now established where the gaps were. In some areas they were overpaying, in other areas they were underpaying, in some areas they were over budgeting, in other areas they were under budgeting. Those who were squarely responsible, they are going really to account, including the human resource personnel, those officers of human resource management who are supposed to do this job. I know the buck stops with the accounting officer, but sometimes the accounting officer is being let down by these other officers. Some of them are actually our own officers, accountants in these institutions, the finance people working with the human resource personnel. Those are the ones we are going to be now managing. In other words, going forward, we are going to sort out that aspect as well. Then those consumptive areas, we have also now repurposed them much more. Workshops, travels, cars, buying these vehicles. I told you here on this TV that we are not buying cars. A week later, Parliament was parading cars of former people. I told the Parliament, you know, it's a statutory institution, and I will respect them so much, and they said they will not do that again.
You actually were rattling with Parliament the last time you were before.
I was doing what?
You rattled with Parliament and
What
said
is
they
it?
were usurping.
What does that word mean?
You said Parliament is usurping the executive powers. What did you mean?
No, what I meant is not actually usurping. I don't know where that word came from. You know, you journalists, you pick words. I said that Parliament, by the way, Parliament is a very powerful institution. Its job is to appropriate the budget. And in appropriation, Parliament is very powerful. It can tell government, don't spend money here. We recommend that you spend money there.
What are they doing that they're not supposed
But
to?
now, sometime, for quite a long time now, there has been a conversation on why Parliament cut money and move it to another area. That is a responsibility of government, to budget.
Theirs is meant to be
To
recommendation.
recommend. Actually, they can refuse that we shall not appropriate this budget until you move this money from here to there. But not to move it and take it to some areas. That's all I was referring to. But we have since agreed with the leadership of Parliament on the modus operandi, how we are going to work in a more consultative manner. And my Minister of Finance and the President of this country, they agree. Because, you know, for us, we are servants of this state. I'm a civil servant and I'm a public servant. The politicians in the Parliament, in the cabinet, in the local governments, and then the judiciary, they are the owners of the country. They are the representatives of the people, and then the lords. And they're the ones to decide on the priorities. Once they have decided on the priorities, I implement them.
Okay.
Now, in the course of implementing them, if you start now moving money from a certain priority, because you think it's not a priority anymore in appropriate, then it becomes a problem. That's all we were having a conversation on.
I see the heavy heart that you would have with that. But still, with regard to the budget, rationalization has been the song for a while, but do you have the monies for the affected persons? Are they reflected in the forthcoming budget?
How can I reflect money on speculation? Until, you know, you see government does not budget in anticipation. Let them put the law in place, and then we budget for it. Because now actually Parliament will ask, so who are you to start allocating money to something which we haven't taken a decision on, haven't allowed you to? Under which law are you budgeting for this?
So for now, to Ugandans, it's still just a conversation.
It's not a conversation. It's a policy-making process. Cabinet approved a policy to rationalize. Parliament is going to legislate on it and approve it. After approval, we shall budget for those monies. We can't fail. You know, a state, a government of Uganda cannot fail to pay people their severance and all other benefits which they are supposed to get. They will pay them.
As we talk about economic growth, one aspect that remains very key is the domestic debt, paying suppliers of government. To how much have we been able to reduce that? Because then if Mildred supplied coffee seedlings, it means if you get to pay me back, I am going to plow back the same money into the same business or other ventures. Are we settling up with our domestic debt?
We are paying. The real suppliers now demand government around 384 billion shillings. Leave alone these numbers you hear of trillions. That these are domestic areas. Those are other things, including money we are supposed to pay in court awards, but some of those court cases are still under certain conversations. It includes money we are supposed to pay to central bank, including money we are supposed to pay for for Congo, in the DR Congo, and so on and so forth. So when you hear that there are trillions of shillings, please, the money which we owe is about 384 billion for actual suppliers, which we haven't paid. We are going to try our level best to pay these people because we are constrained, but we also know what that would mean if you paid people. But also I've been having an issue on the people who supply government without, in other words, without following the due process. Sometimes that's why we create these unnecessary areas.
How do you mean?
You don't have a call of order and you supply government.
And how does government receive goods from
accounting officers? That's why I'm going to be really so mad with my accounting officers. Accounting officers committing government, they don't have the money because we tell them, for you to procure, you must have the money in the budget. And that money has been warranted. Then you go and you procure. But you see, you have, you know, in the government they have those things, unfunded priorities. And then you go and you get people's goods. You find someone that, I got hotel services, I need now a supplementary. Oh, how? Was sleeping in a hotel an emergency? Or carrying out a workshop in a hotel an emergency? And those are the people you'll find, they haven't paid the poor hotel man. But that hotel man also should first established, there is what we call a call of order. Did this person have money? Of course you want business, but
yeah, in this business you will start looking at that. There are 10 hotels and Ram Hotel is saying, do you have a call of order? And they will move on to Mildred
The other
Hotel.
day I met media. And you media people were telling me some of these accounting officers of yours are not paying us. I told you the money we have in the budget for media, for communication. The money is there in the budget, but people were not paying. And now they had created some of them arrears. Even some media houses demand money from some of those accounting officers. By the way, you should stop saying you are demanding money from government, especially when you are getting these services in a manner which is not legitimate. Legitimate,
there is no call of order.
There is no due process. For me, I would want people who have really gotten the due process. And I want to tell you, Mildred, honestly, we try our level best to pay those people.
Okay.
Even in this very budget we are presenting, there is money for them. In most cases, domestic areas, I pay usually 200, 300% over and above the budgeted.
Okay.
We try to create money for them.
A thorn in the foot of many Ugandans is the conversation with regard to Loboa Hospital. That government has committed money, we issued a promissory note, there's money that has gone and not any work has been done, including parliament visits and them being blocked. What do you have to say about this? Because
As a Minister of Finance, we really provided the resources for the hospital. The Minister of Health is working with the contractor to build the hospital. The latest report I have, and I think the Speaker also communicated it, is that construction has resumed now. There were a cocktail of issues with that hospital. From the way, from the day it was conceived, to how it faced a number of shocks, including COVID and also the weather, and then to the conflicts amongst the contractor and the subcontractors, pushing out some of the subcontractors. But now, the latest report I have is that there's a new contract on site, and the work is ongoing. They have resumed the work. We are yet to confirm that. We shall confirm. And definitely you will see the results at the end of the day.
who pays for the delays? Because at every project, there is always a time frame where you do expect at this time, we're putting in this money, this time it should be working. This is the period that the investor will take with ownership and then revert it to government. Who pays for that
The
loan?
investor will pay for the delays.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on record, and we will definitely be able to
contractor will
bring
pay.
it back to you. Our time is really fast spent, but one key aspect that I wouldn't want you to leave without talking about, you talked about reducing the fiscal space, or a conversation about fiscal consolidation that you've talked about for a very long time. Elaborate it to a Ugandan who is watching and what exactly we intend to achieve.
3 things. Simple. Increasing revenue. Ugandans, whatever conversations we are in, we shall not get a solution way forward if we don't collect enough tax revenue. We should pay our taxes, we should get our revenue enhanced, and then that will bring in more relief on the borrowing. And then number 2 is reducing borrowing. And number 3 is cutting government expenditure, or managing it, controlling it. And those 3 things, they are in that budget proposal we are taking to Parliament.
Okay.
So we are deeply in the middle of fiscal consolidation, and we are doing it.
All right. You find a message to the person who is watching when the economy is not doing well with them. What message
I
would you
want
have for
to
them?
assure Ugandans, my good friend Mildred, that this economy of Uganda is among a few economies that have kept their fundamentals stable. By fundamentals, we mean, is the economy growing? Yes. For us, we haven't just recovered, we have grown. Is the inflation stable? Yes, we have stabilized the inflation. Are the people able to earn incomes? Yes. Those who are in value addition, those who are in wealth creation are earning income. Those who are in speculation, they are crying. So most Ugandans, please, ensure that you go into value addition, into wealth creation, into doing something which creates wealth. And you will be able to tap into the opportunities available.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramadan Gobi, for your time. And we'll definitely keep having you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure as well to have your time. That's been the time we had for the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to the Treasury, Mr. Ramadan Gobi. And we'll continue to, of course, get your questions answered on the economy. I am Mildred Tuhai. Say good morning. God bless you.